What's happening in the WNBA right now is absolutely wild. Sophie Cunningham, who plays with Diana Taurasi on the Phoenix Mercury, recently made some eye-popping comments about Caitlin Clark that are leaving people stunned. And believe it or not, that's just scratching the surface. Caitlin Clark isn't just putting up numbers on the court. She's changing the game itself. She's been smashing records, pulling off impossible plays, and shaking up the Indiana Fever in ways no one saw coming. And get this, some of the seasoned veterans are starting to feel a bit envious. Yep, the rookie is making waves so big that it's ruffling the feathers of some long-standing stars. But hold on, let's take a closer look at what Cunningham said that's got everyone buzzing. In a recent interview, she dropped some serious thoughts on Caitlin Clark.
But I think they've done a great job in the league as well. I think the physicality and all that they're going to get used to, but I think especially Caitlin Clark, she's been killing it. And I'm a huge fan, and I never say that, but I think it's fun what she's doing.
Can you believe what this means? A veteran player who shares the court with the iconic Diana Taurasi is giving major props to a rookie. That's not something you see every day in the WNBA, but Sophie didn't stop there. She had more to say.
When it comes to viewership, man, I think a lot of people have a lot to learn about our league, but I think that's a really fun thing. And if you have really anything negative to say about all the viewership and everything that this rookie class is doing, I just think that you're not capitalizing on it and you might be a little jealous. So
Sophie just dropped a truth bomb on anyone throwing shade at Caitlin Clark's success and the other rookies in the league. She's basically saying that if you're not on board with how the WNBA is growing, then the issue might be with you. But why is Sophie, an established player, going all out to defend Clark and the rookies? Simple. It's all about the impact. Clark isn't just playing great basketball. She's completely changing how people view the WNBA. Since she stepped into the league, viewership has exploded. Games that used to have empty seats are now packed. People aren't just watching Indiana Fever games, they're buying tickets, jerseys, and buzzing about the WNBA on social media like never before. And here's the kicker. Clark is pulling all this off as a rookie. She didn't need years to adjust or build a fan base. She came in and started dominating right away. That's why Sophie and other savvy players are seeing that Clark's success is tied to the success of the league itself. In just the last 5 games, Clark's been on fire, averaging 22.6 points, 8.4 assists, and 4.8 rebounds. But that's not all. She's shooting 48.1% from the field and an impressive 44.4% from beyond the arc. These aren't just good numbers for a rookie, they're elite, even for seasoned pros. And what's most incredible is that she's not just stacking up stats for herself, she's lifting the entire team. With Clark on the court, the Fever have gone from barely scraping by to becoming serious title contenders. Oh, and that record for most points generated in a WNBA season? Clark is on track to break it. She's already ranked among the top 3 rookies of all time for total points, and the season's not even over. But it's not just about scoring. Clark is redefining what it means to be a point guard in this league. Her assists aren't just routine passes, they're jaw-dropping plays. She's seeing and creating opportunities that leave even the commentators speechless. And here's the wild part. She's doing all of this against defenses that are built specifically to shut her down. Entire teams are shifting their strategies just to contain Caitlin Clark, but she's still out there dominating. That's why veterans like Sophie Cunningham are so impressed. Clark isn't just excelling. She's changing the entire game. She's pushing teams and players to evolve. And in doing so, she's raising the level of competition across the WNBA. Let's dive into something Cunningham brought up that's been stirring the pot in the league: the jealousy and criticism aimed at Caitlin Clark. Sounds crazy, right? A rookie making such a huge impact that it's got veterans feeling envious. But that's exactly what's happening. Some players, and even some fans, are complaining about all the attention Clark's getting, saying it's overhyped or that she's stealing the spotlight from more experienced players. But let's be real, this is just plain jealousy. As Sophie Cunningham wisely pointed out, those who are grumbling about the attention Clark is bringing to the league are missing out on the bigger picture and maybe feeling a bit envious. She's absolutely right. Clark's success doesn't take away from any other player's value. In fact, the more attention the WNBA gets, the better it is for everyone. More fans mean more revenue, which can lead to higher salaries, better conditions, and more opportunities for all players. Clark is literally expanding the league's market. She's attracting new fans, people who might never have watched a WNBA game before. And once they're hooked, they're not just watching Clark, they're getting introduced to all the incredible talent the league has to offer. That's why smart players like Cunningham are embracing the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. They understand that when one player shines, it benefits the whole league. Clark's success is lifting the WNBA to new heights, and that's good for everyone. For what feels like forever, the WNBA has been constantly criticized and mocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the WNBA just because it's not good.
Basketball fans have poked fun at the empty championship parades and laughed at the small MVP trophies that looked like they came from a dollar store. Some even fell asleep while sitting courtside at games. Online, jokes circulate like, "I'm so mad. I had 2 WNBA tickets in my car, and today someone broke in, and now I have 4 WNBA tickets." You get the idea? The WNBA's image and reputation have been less than impressive.
The WNBA officials expanded to 10 teams this week, adding franchises in Detroit and Washington, D.C. But before you get too excited about the new additions to the league, remember, all of the players are still women.
Honestly, as a diehard NBA fan, the only WNBA trade that ever grabbed my attention was when Brittany Griner was exchanged for the Merchant of Death. It might sound harsh, but I'm just trying to highlight the fact that the WNBA has been so under the radar that even big basketball fans like me hardly hear about it. Lately, though, that seems to be shifting. Lately, it seems like everywhere I turn in the basketball world, it's all about Caitlin Clark. Even during the 2024 NBA Finals, her name kept popping up. As a basketball fan, you just can't avoid hearing about her. After watching her games, reading articles, and listening to her interviews, it's clear why the hype is real. Her shooting is unbelievable, and the rest of her game is just as impressive. People are calling her the female Steph Curry, while others compare her to the legendary Pistol Pete Maravich. Before she even set foot in the WNBA, she was already being mentioned alongside some of the greatest names in the sport. Right now, she's completely changing the landscape of women's basketball, and many believe she's the most groundbreaking women's player of all time. In a league that's been struggling financially since its start, she's probably the only player who can truly draw fans and fill stadiums, boosting revenue along the way.
You just really 17,000 people at the game yesterday, bro.
And listen,
At 10:30 in the morning. God damn.
matinee.
Her story right now reminds me a lot of Ronda Rousey, the former UFC champion who put women's MMA on the map when no one was paying attention. From that perspective, the WNBA should be incredibly thankful because they finally have a chance to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Yet, instead of embracing her, they're attacking, bullying, and doing everything they can to corner and shut her down. Why is that? Why is the WNBA openly going after their star player, the one person who has a real shot at transforming their sport?
Up in time, Clark for the win!
This is why Caitlin Clark will go down as one of the best to ever play the game.
To understand why some WNBA players are turning against Caitlin Clark, we first need to take a closer look at the league's culture. About 7 years ago, a former WNBA champion and top draft pick revealed that she was bullied within the league due to her sexual orientation and popularity. In her own words, she said, "I wanted to play 2 more seasons of WNBA, but the experience wasn't good for my mental health. I didn't like the culture in the WNBA, and without saying too much, it was toxic for me. It broke my spirit." Following her statement, many WNBA players denied the claims, saying her experience was personal and didn't represent the league as a whole. While their point might be fair, her story becomes more believable when you start adding up other examples. Take Luka Doncic, for instance. When he first joined the NBA, he tried to show support for the WNBA by creating what seemed like a harmless video.
What's up, Ricky? I know you're having a great season, so just keep pushing. I know you're going to be the rookie of the year, so best of luck to you.
The video Luka Doncic created was completely harmless, and, if anything, leaned towards being positive. The WNBA could have either thanked him or just stayed silent if they didn't agree with it. Instead, the Minnesota Lynx responded harshly with a tweet saying, "Says a guy who hasn't been to a WNBA game all season but got sent a jersey and recorded a scripted video. The tweet is still up if you want to find it. It was never deleted." This reflects a broader mindset within the WNBA. Another recurring issue is that the league has often complained about pay, arguing they deserve higher salaries simply because NBA players earn so much.
We are not asking you to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking you to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it.
Maybe Caitlin Clark not playing for Team USA at the Olympics turned out to be a blessing in disguise. In her first WNBA game back after the break, she put on one of the best performances of her career. She definitely heard all the talk, not just from Diana, who said, "Reality is coming," but also from the Mercury's social media, where they claimed they'd prefer their 6-time gold medalist.
Reality is coming. You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. I'm taking Paige. Next question.
So if you had the number 1 pick this year, you would take Paige over Caitlin?
Absolutely.
I'd be curious to know if they still agree after this game because reality has definitely set in. Caitlin Clark might just be the best point guard in the WNBA. Diana Taurasi learned that the hard way, and you'll see why in this video. Right from the first play, Aaliyah Boston shows she's in mid-season form, chasing down a missed 3 from Mitchell and putting up the first points for Indiana. On this next play, all 3 of the Fever's All-Stars get involved. Clark makes an entry pass to Boston in the post, who quickly scans over her left shoulder and delivers a perfect bounce pass to Mitchell, cutting across the baseline, who finishes with a smooth reverse layup. You can really see the chemistry between Clark and Boston here. Clark hesitates just long enough to give Boston time to get into position, then threads a bounce pass around Griner's outstretched arms, and Boston lays it in off the glass. It's a strong start for the Fever, forcing the Mercury into an early timeout. Phoenix finally gets something going, and when all else fails, they turn to Brittany Griner. She rises above the defense and sinks a fadeaway jumper over 2 defenders. Speaking of shooting over defenders, watch as Caitlin comes off a screen from Nalissa and lets one fly from NBA range, knocking down her first 3 of the game. When Caitlin starts hitting from deep early on, it's never a good sign for the other team. Kalia Copper is showing why she was such a key player for Team USA in the Olympic final, picking up right where she left off in Paris. She nails a jumper from the elbow off the dribble. While she's a solid defender, she couldn't stop Caitlin Clark, who danced around her on the perimeter, spun inside, and finished at the rim while drawing the foul for an and one. Of course, Caitlin sank the free throw to complete the 3-point play. Caitlin was in control early on. Check out how she probes the defense and splits it with a perfect bounce pass to Smith under the basket for an easy layup. Diana Taurasi, the 6-time Olympic gold medalist, finally made her mark, spinning past Boston for a smooth layup off the glass. But Phoenix couldn't keep up with Indiana's youth and speed. Clark zoomed down the court, blew past Griner, took a slap to the face, and still managed to finish for another old-fashioned 3-point play. That gave her 10 points, and it wasn't even halfway through the first quarter. Watch Caitlin's awareness here. She knows the defensive attention she draws. Sophie Cunningham is face-guarding her at half court, but Caitlin drops back and creates a 4-on-3 advantage for her team. After a screen from Boston, Lou Samuelson takes advantage and catches Taurasi off guard, cutting to the basket and scoring another easy 2 for the Fever. It's the little things that don't show up in the box score that really show how advanced Caitlin Clark is for her age. Even with her taking a seat on the bench, the Fever kept up their fast-paced style. Watch as Mitchell goes coast to coast, pulls up for a mid-range jumper, and then knocks down her first 3-pointer of the game. And there she is again, top of the key, matched up with Copper. Mitchell puts the ball on the floor, steps back, launches, and scores. That's 10 first-quarter points for Kelsey Mitchell, and the Fever are pulling away early. The quarter ends with, who else? Caitlin Clark. She's out for revenge, catching and shooting a deep 3, helping the Fever take a 19-point lead. Clark finishes the first quarter with 13 points, hitting a mid-range shot at the buzzer, though her team still trails by 17 points. Caitlyn's on fire, starting the second quarter just like she ended the first, with another 3 from the same spot. That's 3 triples already, bringing her up to 16 points. Absolutely unreal performance from the soon-to-be Rookie of the Year. With all her scoring, it's easy to forget she's also the WNBA's assist leader. Check out this bullet pass to Nalissa Smith in transition, who finishes through contact for an and one. The Fever now lead 41-18. This is turning into a blowout in Indianapolis, and it just gets worse for Phoenix. Clark doesn't let up, firing another pinpoint pass to Kelsey Mitchell for an easy layup. She could probably find a needle in a haystack with passes like this. It might be one of her best assists of the year, but honestly, she has so many of them, it's hard to keep count. Even Erica Wheeler is hitting threes in this game. The Fever's lead is now up to 28 points, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter. Finally, the Mercury gets something going, with 42-year-old Diana Taurasi coming off a screen to knock down a big 3, cutting the lead to 25. Everyone's feasting in Indiana this game. Nalissa Smith, off a pass from Clark, muscles her way inside and makes a tough shot over Sophie Cunningham. That basket makes her the 3rd Fever player to hit double digits. Actually, make that 4, as Erica Wheeler turns the corner and dishes it off to Boston at just the right moment, bringing her total to 10 points before halftime. Indiana is dominating Phoenix inside, with a 26, 2 points in the paint advantage. Credit the Fever's defense, but there's really no excuse for Phoenix, especially with the tallest player on the court. Quietly though, Phoenix starts to build some momentum. Natasha Cloud hits back-to-back threes, and then Diana Taurasi, this time from the corner, drains another, giving the Mercury 9 quick points. This little 11-2 run becomes important later. You'll see why if you stick around to watch the full game. At the half, the Fever lead 54-37. That first half might be the best basketball Indiana has played all season. Everything we talked about, playing too slow, not playing to Caitlyn's strengths, was the complete opposite today. Caitlyn was able to play at her Iowa-style fast pace, outrunning the older Phoenix team and taking advantage of the Fever's youth. Clark was phenomenal, putting up 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists in the first half alone. Boston, Mitchell, and Smith all chipped in with over 10 points each. But it all started with Caitlyn. She's the catalyst, getting everyone involved. And when her 3-point shot is on, there's really no one in the WNBA who can stop her.
And here is the women's basketball world choosing to reject the attention that is finally coming their way by rejecting Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA has really missed out by passing on Caitlin Clark. She's not just any rookie, she's the most exciting thing to happen to the WNBA, NCAA, and women's basketball in general. But here's an intriguing twist. She got left out of the Team USA women's basketball roster. Talk about a major surprise for 2024.
Look, let's be honest, most people didn't even know they had women's basketball in the Summer Olympics. Now you have a chance to do this, and you don't take it, so here.
In basketball, having top-notch skills and fierce competitiveness can overshadow even the biggest teams worldwide, and Caitlin Clark embodies all of that. So, what could be behind Team USA's decision not to include the Indiana Star rookie? First, let's take a look at Clark's performance in her rookie year with the WNBA. Despite the Indiana Fever's 3-for-29 season, Clark shined individually, averaging 16.8 points, 6.3 assists, and 5.3 rebounds. Her performance and impact are unprecedented for a rookie in the WNBA. So why isn't she on the Team USA roster? Experience can't be the excuse, considering the USA national basketball team's history of selecting rookies. Since women's basketball was added to the Olympics in 1976, at least 2 players under 25 have been included in every Olympic roster. The youngest ever to play for the USA women's team was Nancy Lieberman at 18 in 1976. In the Tokyo Games, the youngest were Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier, both 24. Additionally, there's a precedent for including the top WNBA draft pick in Olympic years, such as Diana Taurasi in 2004, Candace Parker in 2008, and Breanna Stewart in 2016. The U.S. team didn't include Ndamukadi Agwumaike in the lineup back in 2012, even though she was with Los Angeles and now Seattle. Now, Caitlin Clark finds herself in a similar situation. During her time at Iowa, Clark became the Division I career scoring leader for both men and women, finishing with 3,951 points. She also reached the national championship game in both her junior and senior years.
Look, let's be honest. Most people didn't even know they had women's basketball in the Summer Olympics. Now you have a chance to do this, and you don't take it, so here.
However, selecting Clark would have meant more than just highlighting her story. It would have introduced Olympic viewers and readers, many of whom aren't avid sports fans or haven't seen a women's Olympic basketball game, to the entire U.S. team. If you hadn't seen Breanna Stewart in her previous Olympic appearances, you would have tuned in this summer because of Clark's star power. The same goes for Brittany Griner. If she's healthy, she won't be there, and thus, many fans won't follow, as they usually don't. Imagine the global interest Clark could have generated, with reporters and fans from around the world watching her make stunning plays and signing autographs. Little girls in Europe and Africa might have been just as captivated as those in the USA. It all comes down to USA Basketball, whose mission is to promote, grow, and elevate the game at all levels. Missing out on representing your country in the Olympics is undoubtedly disheartening, and Caitlin Clark likely felt that way when she learned she hadn't made the 12-player roster for the Paris Games. On Sunday, Caitlin Clark and Fever coach Christy Sides addressed the news for the first time since it was announced that the top overall pick didn't make Team USA's final roster for the 2024 Olympics in Paris next month. Clark maintained her usual calm demeanor when reacting to the news, but Sides revealed her star's immediate response. Clark got the call while on the bus and texted Sides to share the news. Sides tried to keep her spirits up, and Clark's reaction was, "Hey coach, they woke a monster," which Sides found impressive. Clark noted that the team's mix of talent and experience, none of the players being younger than 26, was a key factor in her not making the roster. Despite this, Clark expressed enthusiasm for the players who did make the team. She said, "I'm excited for the girls on the team. I know it's the most competitive team in the world, and it could have gone either way, with me being on the team or not. I'll be rooting for them to win gold. Watching the Olympics has always been a dream for me, and this just adds motivation. Hopefully, in 4 years, I can be there." Clark was invited to the most recent training camp in April, which would have been her first chance to work with the senior national team, but she couldn't attend due to the Final Four. Nonetheless, she gave herself a strong chance with a standout rookie season. However, she has faced challenges with the physicality of the game and leads the league in turnovers, averaging 5.6 per game. These issues, along with the talent and experience of the players ahead of her, seem to be the reasons she didn't make the final roster. According to Christine Brennan of USA Today, Team USA veterans were concerned about how Clark's large fan base might react if she were chosen, but received limited playing time. Clark didn't go into details about the decision, but mentioned that USA Basketball called her to deliver the news before it was publicly leaked on social media. On the bright side, Clark will finally get a break when the WNBA takes a pause for the Olympics. She's been playing almost non-stop since her senior season at Iowa started in October. Once the Fever finish their pre-Olympic schedule on July 17th, they won't play again until August 16th. "I'm really looking forward to a break," Clark said. "I've loved every second of competing, but it will be great to rest, get healthy, and take a bit of time away from basketball. It'll be nice to find some peace and quiet for myself." There's a slight chance Clark could still join the team as an injury replacement. Notably, Chelsea Gray, who was selected, hasn't played in 8 months due to a foot injury, and it's unclear when she'll return. As one of the top playmakers, Clark could be next in line if Gray isn't back in time. However, Clark is focusing on the Fever and their effort to climb out of the 11th seed. If USA Basketball needs something, I have a good relationship with them. But the 12 players they've selected are really great, Clark said. I think they're in good hands. Cheryl Reeve is a great coach, and the selection committee did a really good job. Some media personalities suggest that not making Team USA could turn out to be a blessing in disguise for Clark. Jamel Hill, formerly of ESPN, suggested that not competing for the gold medal might actually be beneficial for Clark. In just a few weeks, Clark transitioned from college basketball to becoming a professional and dealing with a demanding schedule. A multi-week break could be just what she needs, Hill mentioned in an X post. Clark had almost no offseason. Her college career ended on April 7th after a long 6-month season, and just a week later, she was the first overall pick in the WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever. She started practicing almost immediately, with the Fever's preseason beginning 11 days before the WNBA season kicked off on May 14th. The WNBA season will take a nearly month-long break for the Olympics, with the Fever off from July 18th to August 15th. This will be the longest gap between games for Clark since before her final season at Iowa.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
The trolls are acting without class and are trending on Twitter after LSU star Angel Reese taunted Caitlin Clark with John Cena's "You can't see me" gesture after their win. Not just fans, but also sports commentator Keith Olbermann criticized Reese with a harsh tweet, calling her an I-word and warning her about the backlash that comes with messing with a new star who attracts thousands of new fans to basketball. It all began with these two basketball players, Reese from LSU and Clark from Iowa, becoming household names for sports fans with their record-breaking performances in the March Madness tournament. The NCAA's most valuable players seemed to have a tense relationship, with Reese alleging that Clark had disrespected several of her friends and teammates throughout the tournament. Here's a breakdown of the two stars and their rivalry. Reese and Clark faced off in the championship game, where Reese's LSU Tigers ultimately triumphed with a 102-85 win. In the game's final moments, viewers saw Reese respond to Clark's taunts, which drew significant online criticism. Reese mimicked Cena's "You can't see me" gesture and pointed to her ring finger, signaling their championship victory, all while staring Clark down. During their post-game press conferences, both players addressed the situation. Clark, displaying her sportsmanship, responded to questions about Reese's taunts by saying, "Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line, shake hands, and express gratitude that my team was in that position." She emphasized the importance of holding one's head high and being proud of their achievements. This is how a star beloved by fans reacts. On the other hand, Angel Reese had a different take. In her post-game interview, Reese acknowledged Clark as a hell of a player, but noted that Clark had disrespected her teammate Alexis Morris during the title game. Reese made it clear that she doesn't take disrespect lightly. Since their post-game interviews, both Reese and Clark have addressed the discussions surrounding their taunts. Speaking with ESPN, Clark defended Reese, saying, "I don't think Angel should be criticized at all. No matter which way it goes, she should never be criticized for what she did." Clark further demonstrated her class, stating, "I think everybody knew there was going to be a little trash talk throughout the entire tournament. It's not just me and Angel." Despite her tearful post-game interview, Clark spoke to ESPN, acknowledging that the LSU Tigers rightfully earned their NCAA championship over her team. "LSU deserved it. They played so well, and like I said, I'm a big fan of hers," Clark said of Reese. Clark's behavior off the court is truly exemplary. She always takes the time to appreciate other players, even though she rarely gets the same recognition in return. ESPN reported that Dr. Jill Biden was thinking about inviting both teams from the title game to the White House. This would be the first time the runner-ups were included in the celebratory visit. So, I know we'll have the champions come to the White House. We always do, Jill said according to CNN. We hope LSU will come, but you know, I'm going to tell Joe I think Iowa should come too because they played such a good game. Reese shared the link to ESPN's story and added a joke with 3 laughing emojis saying, "Can you see the jealousy and the hate?"
Really need to recognize what's going on, the success of the league, and when it comes to Caitlin Clark, they need to quit being quote-unquote petty and hating on Caitlin. And they just can't do it. Angel Reese just can't do it.
The First Lady eventually decided against inviting both teams, but the damage had already been done according to Reese and the LSU Tigers. Stuff like that bothers me because at the end of the day, you're a woman and you're supposed to be standing behind us, Reese said on the I Am Athlete podcast. It's hard to see things like that and not comment back on it. Reese continued, "I'm not going to lie to you. I don't accept the apology. You can't take back certain things you say. You felt like they should have come because of sportsmanship, right? They can have that spotlight. We'll go to the Obamas. I'm going to see Michelle. I'm going to see Barack." Reese's comments sparked reactions from Caitlin's fans, who roasted Reese as a result. After the Chicago Sky beat the New York Liberty 90-81 on Thursday night, Reese, a former LSU star, appeared to take a dig at Caitlin Clark in a now-deleted tweet. Reese has been crucial to the Chicago Sky's success, contributing an impressive 35 points in 2 of the first 3 victories of the season. Following their latest win, Reese tweeted, "And that's on getting a win in a packed area, not just because of one player on our charter flight," which many speculated was aimed at Clark, the standout rookie for the Fever. Clark's transition to the professional level has undeniably contributed to the growth of the WNBA, bringing in charter flights for the league. Several basketball fans did not take kindly to Reese's comment. One fan mocked her college GPA, saying, "That 1.8 GPA showing LOL," while another said, "Angel should be thankful to Caitlin Clark because she's the main reason behind the great attention the WNBA's getting right now. She should be more grateful." Others looked forward to June 1st when Reese would face Clark's team, with one fan asking, "Why is she so obsessed with Clark? I haven't seen Clark bring up Reese once." Other fans labeled many women players as haters of Clark, noting, "It's truly amazing how much these women hate Clark, LOL." Reese's profile rose because of the rivalry. Otherwise, she might have been just another WNBA player. One fan even challenged the vague meaning of her tweet, saying, "What did she say? I read the tweet 10 times and still can't understand what she's trying to say." Despite the intense competition and scrutiny surrounding their games, Reese has tried to show some respect for Clark. In April's highly anticipated LSU-Iowa March Madness matchup, Reese clarified that there was no animosity between her and Clark. After LSU's loss to Iowa in the Elite Eight, the 2 players shared a hug in the handshake line, with Reese whispering encouraging words to Clark. Reese revealed that Clark told her to continue being a great player, and Reese reciprocated by encouraging Clark to keep elevating the game and win it. This moment highlighted the respect and admiration they have for each other as athletes, despite their fierce competition on the court. Both players have admitted that their rivalry isn't personal. Reese explained that outside the game, they can be friendly and supportive of each other. She acknowledged that people often misinterpret their competitive nature as hatred, but in reality, they respect each other and understand the nature of the game. However, recent events paint a different picture. Reese recorded an impressive stat line with 17 points and 20 rebounds in 36 minutes before fouling out with under 2 minutes left in the 4th quarter. On the other hand, Clark delivered a stellar performance, finishing with 41 points, including 9 three-pointers, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block, leading Iowa to the Final Four.
It is still a team game, and but I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. I hope she kills.
LeBron James has chosen to focus on the positive impact Caitlin Clark is having on the WNBA in her rookie season. despite the early struggles and criticism faced by players like Angel Reese. James praised Clark for boosting interest and viewership in women's basketball, highlighting her significant contributions to the sport's growth. The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport is that more people want to watch, more people want to tune in. Don't get it twisted. Caitlin Clark is the reason a lot of great things are going to happen for the WNBA, James said. James is absolutely right. Clark's impact is substantial. She is a major reason behind the increased viewership and support for women's basketball. Her arrival in the WNBA has led to more nationally televised games and the introduction of charter flights for WNBA teams, changes that players like Angel Reese might not like because they envy Caitlin's stardom. Share your thoughts about Clark's growing stardom in the comments below.